So, since we've got the same uncle and we're cousins, we can have a little family talk, right? I named my first company Primo, and Primo is a double entendre. In black urban culture, Primo means top shelf, creme de la creme, if you will. But in Spanish, Primo is cousins. So we're Primos. You are my Morehead Primos. We have a similar DNA. And with that, we run on the same operating system, if you will. Like Apple products run on Mac OS, but without the A, MC OS. And all operating systems, they need updates and upgrades, right? Like this triennial is a major system upgrade. I mean, the conversations we have, the ideas that are shared are second to none. So I want to give you some other ways that you can make sure you stay MCOS optimized between now and our next triennial. So, first things first, big annual reboots. Think about it. This is in the very fabric of our program and how it's designed. Think about how impactful your summer experience was on you and your perspective. I argue you need this every single year. So several years ago, I got a 40 under 40 award, and with that came this scholarship to attend the John Grinnell Executive Leadership Jumpstart Program in Wilmington. This was like a $10,000 scholarship, right? And as a young professional, I would have never invested in my reboot at that time. But boy, this experience was next level. I mean, not only did it allow me to put the phone to the side and unplug from technology for a week or so, which I needed, it also really helped me with self-awareness and learning more about my professional strengths and some of my blind spots. And most importantly, it really, through kind of hypnosis and coaching and therapy, tapped into my subconscious and helped me learn about some of those false negative and limiting beliefs that were holding me down. I mean, this was an impact amplifier for me. So much so, I've sent, on my own dime, 10 people from my organization through this program. And there are countless programs like this that's just waiting on you to plug into it. I mean, Outward Bound has a professional series that I've done. And one of my favorites right now, it's a little vacation and some development and rejuvenation. It's called Rancho La Puerta. It's in Tecate, Mexico, and this is like an alternative wellness and learning retreat. So pick your flavor, no pun intended from the ice cream guy. But big annual reboot is a must. All right? App number 2 that you need to download on your MCOS is what I call Tours of Duty. This is inspired by a book called The Alliance, written by one of the co-founders of LinkedIn. And it talks about the work and endeavors we have. It's kind of like tours of duty, like the military almost, right? And there are 3 different kinds of tours of duty. You've got transitional tours of duty. These are kind of like stopgaps, like normally 6 to 12 months transitioning. Then you've got transformational tours of duty. Just like they sound. This is a tour that you're supposed to be transformed, and you're supposed to transform something about the endeavor that you're working on. These are normally 3 to 5 years in time. And then the final tour of duty is called a foundational tour of duty. Like this is kind of like a marriage, right? Like at the core, we're connected. I am the endeavor is me. And so why is this important for Morehead-Cain? Well, the other side of this passion sword that we carry around is that you guys can get really dialed into about any and everything sometimes. And it's important that you know what kind of tour you're embarking on. You don't want to take a transitional tour and just carry it on and on and on because of your passion, right? You don't want to bring transformational energy to transitional endeavors. So I'd ask the room, think about one of your main endeavors right now. What kind of tour of duty is it? Is it a transitional tour that maybe it's time to graduate up from? Or is it a transformational tour? And if it's a transformational tour, where are you on the tour right now? Are you on the first leg? Or are you in the middle or toward the end? If you're in the middle or toward the end, I'd encourage you to start talking about and having some conversations about, what's my next tour? What's my next tour of duty as I complete this one? So my third and final app for Morehead-Cain OS optimization. This one is kind of like a suite of tools, like Microsoft Office, and you got Excel and Word, and so this is a suite of tools. You got Savers, Pyramid of Mastery, and PQ. We'll walk you through each three of these tools. Savers, it's a routine. It's a morning routine that as many days as you can start your day like this, it's great. It plugs in perfectly with Morehead-Cain. It's an acronym. Silence, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading, and scribing. Now, the reason this is so good with MCOS is because it's flexible. Like, you can do a 5-minute saver routine, or you can go mega zen like I do sometimes and go 5 hours, right? But it's very flexible. Google it, look it up, and see if it fits with what you're doing. It's highly compatible with MCOS. The next one is called the Pyramid of Mastery. And this is world-renowned author and motivational speaker Tony Robbins' best brainchild, if you ask me, the Pyramid of Mastery. It talks about these 7 areas of our life that we're in constant pursuit of mastery and balance in. And it's kind of shaped like a pyramid, right? And so you've got physiology, emotions, relationships, time, work, finances separate, and then contribution. And they're really connected. Like, I can't be the best that I can be emotionally if I'm not physically feeling well. It's hard to do. In order for me to show up as a leader, I need to be in my personal and professional relationships. I need to be pretty straight emotionally myself. In order for me to truly be a master at time management, I can't have relationships that waste a lot of my time, right? And I tend to do pretty good at work whenever I'm using my time wisely. And when I do good at work, my finances grow, and I'm able to contribute in major ways to my church and Morehead and things that I'm passionate about. So this for me is like a every 90 day, every quarter, like mirror that I self-reflect in. And so this is the Pyramid of Mastery. And so the last of these tools that I'll share with you today is something called PQ, or Positive Intelligence. So this is based on the research and book by an author named Shirzad. And it really talks about your brain and your mind and positive intelligence. Kind of like you've got these 2 areas of your brain. You've got the saboteur region and the sage region. Okay, the saboteur region is kind of your fear area. It's your reptilian brain, where characteristics like being controlling, like, not that anybody in this room knows anything about that, right? But if you did, being controlling is back here in the saboteur region, or being a stickler, or the most common one, being judgmental. It says we spend so much time not even consciously doing it, but judging ourselves, judging others, judging circumstances, right? So all that's here in the saboteur. Now, the sage region is where positive characteristics like creativity and empathy and innovation live. And if you'd imagine being in a gym, and for years, day after day, you just lift with one arm over and over. And maybe you do something here every now and then, but you do this like every day. That's your gym routine. At some point, like, you get really weak and you get really strong, and it's an imbalance. And so PQ is an actual app on your phone. It's like a 6-week basic training boot camp for your mind and your mental fitness. And it helps you become more aware of this saboteur behavior so you can turn it off and stop building that muscle and really build this sage region up. And so I'll give you ways, like I finished the boot camp several years ago, but I still use some of these tactics in my training right now. One of the things I do, I find myself in conundrums quite often, right? As an entrepreneur and business person, I get in sticky situations. And what I do is I consult with my elder, wiser self. Like literally, like I got a meditation room at my house. Yeah, my wife, she's very mad about me taking a whole room just for meditation. I've got a meditation room in my house, and I go in there, and I talk with my elder, wiser self. What would Antonio 20 years from now say about this conundrum? And here's I think, the best one I do. And it's really good for Morehead-Cain because we can be really hard on ourselves. You know, we can really, really be hard on ourselves. And the other one I do is I love myself, like literally. I get a picture of sometime when you were a child, sometime before the age of 10. And like spend some time loving that picture, loving that child, looking at that child and appreciating the curiosity and the creativity of that child, because that child is you. And so in closing, it should be clear, I'm a super advocate for strengths-based leadership. As Morehead-Cain Primos, our key strength is our passion. So I want you to cultivate it with habits like PQ and savers. I want you to protect it with tours of duty. And I want you to upgrade it every freaking year. Because you have to forgive me for my passion, but Morehead-Cain is a foundational tour of duty for me. And you being your best self is directly connected with my legacy. As our president, Chris, often champions, Ubuntu. It's a South African proverb. I am who I am because you are who you are. So Ubuntu, thank you, and may God bless each and every one of you.